What's up? Hello, my name is Liz and you're watching For Booking Out Loud. So it is March. That means spring is upon us, at least in some parts of the world. Some parts you might still be fully in winter, and for that, it's coming, I promise. But since it is March, I thought I would give kind of a spring recommendation list, at least in my opinion. For me, as we spring forward, I think, well, to be honest, I'm not really a seasonal reader. As we move between seasons, I don't pick books up for seasonals or for seasons. I pick books up as an interest to me, if you might have noticed from my TBR. However, I know some of you are seasonal readers, and that is perfectly fine. And so when I was creating this list, I looked at books that were kind of hopeful, a new churn, something that is more, let's say, a new start. I wasn't looking for things ending. I wasn't looking for a lot of death, which actually was a lot more difficult for me than I thought. I guess focus on more death-oriented books, which might be a different issue and we might have to talk about on another note. That's just life. That's just me. However, as we go through this list, I have 5 very different books that I think are more spring-ish, new start-ish, hopeful-ish. Let's say that. So, hoping that 2021 is a good year and that spring of 2021 gives all of us a fresh start, let's just get into it. As my number 1 choice, I highly suggest this spring you pick up Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. I picked up this book because it is very much an underdog story. It is kind of this RPG lit story about this young, down on his luck, as you might say, boy that overcomes a huge corporation. Let's just leave it at that. It's very interesting in the way that Cline uses technology and storytelling. And if you have seen the movie, I will say the book is 1,000% better. And the storytelling in the book is so much better and it keeps you so engaged throughout the whole book. I will admit, when I am suggesting this, I have never picked up the book in my life and I've solely gone through the audio. Will Wheaton does an amazing job bringing that book to life, and it is just such an immersive story that all the characters are coming to life and just the adventure takes hold of you and really makes you love it. So I highly suggest picking that up this spring and just enjoying yourself to the full. Now, the second book is very, very different than Ready Player One, and I would highly suggest picking up Far From the Tree by Robin Benway. I will admit, again, as I suggest this book, it has been many, many years since I have read it, but going through all of the books to create this list, I wanted to cultivate a wide variety of books to recommend. And this one, I will say, is really, really interesting. And I just loved, from what I remember, the family aspect of this story. It is about a young girl who was adopted at birth, and now that she's older, I believe she was, I don't even know how old she was, but she has just put up her own baby for adoption, so she goes on her own journey of finding her birth family. And on this journey, she discovers that she was not an only child and she has a brother and a sister. So it is this exploration of what it means to be family and what it means to belong. And I remember loving it so much more than I thought I would. And I remember it giving me the warm fuzzies, as you will, when I finished reading it. So if you're looking for a warm fuzzy kind of book, I highly suggest it. And I always think summer, blah, 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 spring is the time for warm fuzzies, if I'm going to be honest with you. Now, the third book I'm going to recommend, again, is incredibly different from the second and the first book that I recommend. It is going to be The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. And talk about a change in seasons. This book is a fantasy novel that Jemisin has done a phenomenal job world building. The fifth season is all about this world where the seasons come and go like normal. However, there's this other fifth season that basically brings the end of the world. You are lucky to even survive the first couple of days of this fifth season, much less the decades that it potentially can go on for. And within this world, there's this supernatural human that is looked down upon, but is key to humanity surviving these fifth seasons. And it follows 3 women that are basically cultivating their skills. And then this fifth season hits, and you're following this journey. And let me tell you, it is one of my all-time favorite fantasy novels, and it is a part of a trilogy. So let's just say it's one of my all-time favorite trilogies. And if you're looking for a book that has change, yes, it does. This book has change in it, and it is beautiful. And if you have not picked it up and you like fantasy, you're missing something in your life. So my fourth book that I'm going to recommend for spring is, again, very different. And I actually own a copy of this one. It is called A Woman is No Man by Etaf Rum. I am so sorry for butchering that name. But this is about 2 women, and it's a mother and a daughter. This mother is from Pakistan, and she is being married off to this man. And her expectation is that she is going to go off to Brooklyn from Pakistan and have a wonderful, wonderful life. And then 30 years later, it follows the story of her daughter. And she's living in Brooklyn, and she is being cared for by her grandmother. And she is currently in the process of meeting suitors at 17, but this daughter is not happy. She wants to go off to college and not get married, point blank. So it's this dynamic between the mother who is very happy to get married and this daughter who is very unhappy to get married, and this cultural parallel, but I guess dichotomy, not a dichotomy. Words. But it's this look at these 2 women who are so similar but so different, and this culture that's suppressing them but also nourishing them. And there's also this mystery that's surrounding in this book, and it is just so beautiful. I honestly was crying at the end of this book, but like a happy, sad cry. And it is like a change hence why I'm suggesting this book. And I highly suggest, if you like a mix of family, contemporary, and family historical fiction type books, this is your guy. A Woman is No Man. Beautiful, beautiful book. All right, and the very last book I am going to recommend for spring is one of the most interesting books I think I've read to date. It is called I Am Princess X by Cherie Priest. It is a YA mix of graphic novel and novel. So it is about the friendship of these two girls, and when they were really young, they created this character called Princess X, and one girl would create the story and the other girl would draw the story in graphic format. And then as they grew older, they separated, as friends do. However, in high school, one of these girls starts seeing Princess X all over the city. And she discovers that the story is about Princess X trying to free herself, trying to save herself, trying to escape this evil man. And she concludes that her friend is trying to ask for help in the only way she can. And so she is trying to solve the mystery of where her friend's at, why she's trying to escape something, and who she's trying to escape from. And it's just this very interesting story of a mix between graphic novel, mystery, adventure, and it's just a good story. And I highly suggest it if you haven't either heard of it, you like YA mystery, and you're just curious about this type of novel. I would, at the very least, suggest looking into this story. And if you're curious at all after looking into it, I would read it, point blank. It's a really good story to at least read once. I'm unfamiliar with anything else this author might have put out. I read this story years and years ago, but I just remember absolutely adoring it. So there you go. That is my 5 spring recommendations this year. I'm really curious to see if A, any of you have read these 5 books, or B, if you have your own spring recommendations. I'm always curious to see if people read by seasons, and if they do, if they have like a favorite go-to. So please comment down below, and just happy March. It's gonna be a good month, right? It has to be a good month. But I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Bye.